Mate, you look at 37 years and it's not all Group 1 glory, is it? You know, there's a lot of tough times. What was your toughest?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's sport and life in general. You know, you have your ups and downs, and especially when you're an athlete and you're striving to be the best all the time. So you set the bar very high, and it's difficult to be at that level all the time because, you know, you are fluctuating. You're going up and down. You try new things. You know, you're not always flushing that golf ball all the time, are you? You're not. Sometimes there's days where you don't get it right, and that's the same in our game. You know, there's just days where I walk away from the racetrack and I go, geez, I didn't have any rhythm, nothing was working. And then you start second guessing yourself, and then you start thinking, geez, you know, am I losing it? And then you can spiral, you know, you start spiraling out of control a little bit, and you have those moments. When I broke my C2, when I broke that in Macau and had to get operated on in Hong Kong, that was, at the time I didn't think it was a big deal because I just thought, oh, I broke my neck. Yeah, that's big enough. But when Julian Chang, my neurosurgeon in Hong Kong, told me how close I'd come to ending my life, that's when it really hit home. You know, that's just pretty serious. You know, and you know, they thought maybe you shouldn't be getting back on a horse. If this doesn't heal properly, you won't be getting back on a horse. They want trying to get me back in to just have a normal life again. Yeah. That was in 2002, and I was lucky enough that things happened pretty good after that point. But I went to Singapore for 3.5 years. I was kind of a bit lost at the time. I was lost. I don't know, it was a real weird point. I was actually thinking about retiring back then. That was 6 years ago. I was completely lost in the game, and I thought, well, you know, I'll go to Singapore because it might be just a bit of a freshen up, or, you know, just a different scene, and maybe I'll, you know. Anyway, I got there, and in the first 2 years I was really good there, but then I started to lose my way again. I kind of didn't really want to be there, but I stuck it out a bit longer because I was just being ignorant and stubborn. And then I just started to spiral out of control, you know, because started drinking way too much alcohol, just losing my way, doing stupid things, and I had to get out of there, obviously. So I come back home, but I was still on that same track, you know. I was still self-medicating and alcohol, and you know, I was quite scared about being accepted back into Australian racing. I didn't know where I was going to fit. Thought about going to Brisbane, and that didn't feel good. But I was living up on the coast, and then I thought, well, you know, Liam Pryor we took on my work, and he said, let's come back to Sydney, you know. And I got back to Sydney, and I was dead set frightened about it. I didn't know how it was going to go, and things were starting to really spiral out of control for G-Boss very quickly. And yeah, I got to a point in my life where I just felt like I shouldn't be here anymore. And yeah, I did a stupid thing, did the most disrespectful thing that a human can do, not to himself, but everyone around him, his loved ones, his family. And yeah, so that was the thing that was just rock bottom for me. I kind of had these visions, like, you know, I was in such a big dark hole walking down a road. It's how I can only explain it. And when I looked backwards, I felt like I couldn't see the light. All I could see was more darkness. So I thought, well, I just have to keep going down this road, because I felt like everything was in such a state of disrepair that I can't even start to repair this, because, you know, I was losing my family, I was losing my kids, my friends, I was lying to them. There was so much a web of lies. I didn't, you know what I mean? Because I was just one lie after another and trying to cover up another lie, and it was just out of control. And I thought, how can I repair this? And I can't. I'll just keep going until it stops, till I stop. And yeah, so I tried to stop it, you know, one day, and it was just through the sheer determination of my son, who, you know, he was ringing every hotel. He was ringing the police to say something's wrong, and there was 2 coppers who were relentless in trying to find me, and they found me in a hotel, unresponsive, one morning. And somehow I just woke up in Sydney Hospital, and they brought me back. It was an incredible. I don't know, you know, how that happened. So, but you know what? You just kind of, from that point onwards, you just go, wow, you know, what. I was so filthy on myself, absolutely dirty on myself. What a disrespectful thing I'd done, you know. And I made a promise to myself that I'd never get to that place again. And, you know, I put my hand up, asked for help, realising that people do want to help you, you know, when you're doing it, you think, no one's going to help me, you know. why would I ask for help? It's just, so I went and sought help, went and spent some time with my greatest mate, Scott Perrin, on his property up in the Gambia here, and spent a couple of weeks with him, and, he taught me some, I just needed to hear the truth, and he was the one that delivered to me. It was brutal. It was a brutal first week there, but it was the best week I ever had in my whole life, because it taught me that, like, he just hit me one day, and physically hit me one day. He said, mate, we'll drive around his property, and he gave me the best jab. He said, mate, you could have missed all this, and what for? Yeah, so. But, I would like to, out of this should come some good, for me, I've got to use my experience and turn it around and use and have a tool there now to bring some good to other people, because there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to seek it and ask for help, and and it's okay to be vulnerable and scared, as you will be. It's okay to be, you'll be physically down, but that you can turn it around and be physically good, because what I did in the next 3 months was unbelievable. You can do it. I was at the lowest point that anyone could possibly be, and I turned it around, and just unbelievable what I did. It's so you can shed your skin, and you can become a new person. People say that leopards never change their spot. That's the biggest load of crap I've ever heard, because you can. Horses for me won $21 million prize money in that season. Incredible experience. So there's a life lesson, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a real life lesson. I tell you, life is worth living. It's an incredible experience, and I think sometimes people have to reach the bottom to find the top again. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not asking people to do that, but if you're feeling vulnerable, or you can feel a shift in your psyche that you can feel that coming, that's when you've got to address it and ask for help, because when you do, you start bouncing back the other way, and I tell you what, it's an incredible experience.
Excellent runs to second, return runs on, but a champion becomes a legend. McCartney never has won it from either orders.
That Tuesday when I got to the races, I was doing interviews all morning on the radio saying it was over. Like, I was just so confident. I had the best sleep on the Monday night. I had that many good dreams. I had dreams I was falling off, and I could get back on. I was riding it backwards, it still was winning. There was no, every outcome of the dream was the same. I was winning.